Hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to our live this morning. I thank you for joining. And as you come on, let me know where you're joining from. I'm happy to have you here. We've been going through our business growth challenge. We're now on day 8 of 30, but don't worry. I'm sure for some of us who may not have sat down and created the plan for the year, you've now dedicated 8 days. That's more than you did for 2025. So give yourselves a hand. So I'm happy to have you. I'm Michelle O'Connor, your business growth strategist, and I help entrepreneurs to develop profitable growth plans that have them lead with ease and reduce burnout and overwhelm. And we do this through development of strategies that are directly linked to their overall goals. So that way you're not finding yourselves every day or every week or every month changing your plan without an idea as to why you're changing it. So we've been talking about creating your business growth plan for 2026, and last week or first 5 days we spent some time looking at reviewing what happened for last year, and this week we're talking about planning. How do we set those goals? And there are some frameworks that you can use to help you to guide, and that's what we're talking about. So if you know anyone who has a business, who is guessing where they are, not really having a very focused plan, I want you to go ahead and share this with them. And as you join again, please go ahead and share and let me know where you're joining from. I'm also going to be dropping my email address in the comments, so you can send me an email if you have any questions. And you also have a link to my calendar if you're like, you know what, I'm ready to just have a conversation. Let me just book a time and a call. All right, so we've been talking this week about setting goals. We spent some time talking about KPIs. Very, very important that you understand that. Then yesterday we spoke about the Ansoff model, which is a growth model that you can use in your planning. It helps you be focused on the type of growth that you're going after for the year, and you need to know that before you even go into setting up goals. And today we're going to be talking about performance dashboard. You can't measure what you don't know. And if it is you're going into your days, into your months, and you're going through your year unable to see where your business is at, that is what can be causing you some kind of overwhelm. Because guess what? If you can't see where your business is at, you don't know if the activities that you're taking on is directly linked to the direction of your business. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And again, you're joining, please go ahead and let me know where you're joining from. I'm happy to have you. In this virtual world, we want to know that we're talking to people. As such, I do love the engagement, and even if you're watching the replay, we still reply to the comments and the feedback after. All right, so performance dashboards. One of the things that I know to be true after years and years of managing and leading performance management is this. When you have or probably I should just say first, persons here performance dashboard, they're like, what is a dashboard? It's really your health checkup for your business. So if you think of it, it's a report that shows you how you are performing based on the metrics or the KPIs that you have set. So yesterday we spoke about KPIs, and no, Monday we spoke about KPIs, and we did say you need to have your lead indicators and your lag indicators. When you put that on a performance dashboard as a CEO, as a founder, what you have is a document that shows you clearly, this is the KPI that I'm monitoring. So I'm monitoring revenue and I'm monitoring number of calls booked. This is the target. We want to earn $100,000. We want to have 120 calls booked, just as an example. This is what we have achieved. This is the variance, and also some comments like what's happening. Why were we on target? Why were we off target? Now, I'm going to show you an example of a dashboard shortly. But what that dashboard does, once you look at it, I know for CEOs and founders, one of the things that you normally go to, let me see what's red. When you look at what is red in color, RED, you probably say, oh, we're off target there. Let me jump in and see what do we need to do to ensure that we fix that those performance. So think about, you go to the doctor and you do a full physical, you do a checkup. When you get the report from the doctor, it's showing you where your vitamin B levels need to be, your blood pressure, etc. You're looking at the numbers that are off based on the target that you're going for. And natural instinct, that's where you go, because you want to be hitting your targets. So for those that are working, you look and you see, okay, what's the trajectory? What's the projection? Are we going in the right direction? And you continue on. But for those that are off, we tend to go back and look and see how it is that we can fix it. So that is really what your dashboard is. So it's this single place that hosts your business performance. It's important that you have it, because as a CEO and a founder, you may not have enough time to sit all the time and have detailed conversation. But if your manager, your office manager, persons that work with you, if they complete this report and you're looking at it, you have an idea where your business is. You're also able to make decisions from a place of information, and you're not doing guesswork. And listen, it works the same way you're on social media. It makes no sense that you get up every day and you're posting, and you're doing without pausing to look at the numbers. What do people like? What are they watching? What are they interacting with? Which one of my videos have done very well? Which one of my newsletters? Which one of my shorts? You name it. You need, as a business owner, to take the time, as a CEO, as a founder, entrepreneur, we use so many words, you need to find the time to step back and look at the reports. And the beauty about even social media, if you're monitoring your marketing metrics or your content metric, you're able to get the report from the social media platforms that you're on. So that is what your dashboard is. So I was sharing with you earlier that from my time in corporate, there are a few things that I know to be true. One, and I sat down and thought of them, and I made a list that I want to share with you. What causes us challenge when we're talking about creating and building a dashboard? Ease of measurement. You don't want to set a target to go on your performance dashboard that you're not able to measure, and that happens so often. What ends up happening, because you're not able to measure it, it causes some bottleneck in the business, and you then sometimes have to choose between one or the other, and it gets left behind, and you never ever pick it back up, and you don't continue to monitor it. That's one. So we want to fix that. You want to make sure that if you are creating a performance dashboard, if you're creating your financial health checklist, if you're creating that one document that's going to show you how your business is performing, you want to make sure that you can easily measure that number. You have a system that you can pull the numbers from. Someone has access to that information. Ensure that you have that. The next thing is ensure that you can access the data. Right? You want to be able to access it. And you also want to ensure that there are owners. Somebody owns this KPI. When we're doing strategic planning, when you create your strategy map and you have your objectives and you have your KPIs, you need to have somebody who owns it. When people own something, they take it personal. They're working on it all the time. And so you want to make sure that there's an owner. If it's an expense item, somebody owns it. The revenue, your sales manager owns it. Ensure that you have an owner. And also ensure that the frequency for reporting is clear to everyone. We are going to be monitoring this KPI every week. We're going to be monitoring this KPI every month. Every week, I need to know how many inquiries we got to tour our co-working space. Every week, I need to know how many calls do I have booked for a consultation. Because remember, if you go back to what we were talking about earlier this week, if it is that I'm monitoring my lead indicators, and my lead indicator would be, if we're talking about revenue for a business consultant, how many calls do I have booked for the week? Oh, I don't have 5. If I don't have 5, what do I need to do to get 5? Or if it's a seasonal reason, we're heading into Christmas holiday, maybe people aren't there, can I get 10 next week? But when you're looking at your KPI, you want to make sure that the frequency is clear, so the persons on your team know when they are giving you the information, so you don't have to guess. Because along with, I talk about ease of measurement, frequency, owners, ensure you have access to the data. When any of these are missing from your overall performance dashboard, your performance management framework, what tends to happen, something gets dropped off. Oh, we can't measure it, so we're going to leave it off this week. And then it's left off next week, and then you continue and you wait on your accountant to give you your financial statements, and those are just for income tax purposes, but you don't really know what's happening on the ground. I want you for going into next year to practice taking time to look at the financial health of your business yourself. The information that you're getting from your accountant is supposed to support what you already know and not just be giving you new information. You are supposed to know. And if you're not meeting your target, guys, I know we like to be into doing, and we touched on this in some previous lives. And thank you again, guys, for coming on. If it is that you are able to, because I know sometimes we're driving, or we're doing different things, you can drop in the comments and let me know where you're joining from. And also, if you have any questions, we're talking about performance dashboard today. So if you know what targets you are going after and you've created that dashboard, you want to own it for yourselves. I've shared this already, that I've worked with a CEO where he could do the presentation for every single manager in the organization because he was so intimate with his numbers. You want to take some time and come out of the doing. I was reading a LinkedIn newsletter, and the person shared a few things that I really like. I think I'm going to do a review of it and tag the person because I really love that newsletter. He was talking about why executives shy away from planning, because you're creating an hypothesis, and then you're going to be creating activities to test and see if this is true. And sometimes executives shy away from that because it means I don't know, and it means I could be wrong. And really and truly, as a leader, you want to be right. You want to, stay. And that is why we sometimes stay in the doing instead of going over and testing to see. But when you're in the doing, you're always playing catch up. Well, if you go over into the planning phase, you're testing this hypothesis, you're creating initiatives. When you're doing that, you're also looking back at the things that you did to see if they worked. I saw somebody post a video on social media, and I'm just like, as someone who would be a consumer, I think this can be done differently. But the thing is, it's, did that person pause to see that really nobody's interacting with this kind of content and they need to shift to something else? That's what you want to do as a founder and a CEO. Find the time. I know it's busy. We're going to have I think I'm going to do a session on recruiting, because sometimes when we think of recruiting, we think of it just as an expense. But I want to have a conversation with you to show you how the right recruitment can help you to increase your revenue. You're doing it all and you're saying, yes, I can do it all. It's going to take me too much to train somebody else, but I want to have that conversation with you. So ensure that you can easily access the information, you can measure it. There's an owner and there's a frequency for your performance dashboard. No, because you can't manage what you don't know. And when you remove the guesswork, you know exactly where you need to put your energy. And that is what we want for 2026. You want to know where you're putting your energy. Now, as we go into the performance dashboards, I did share on Monday when we met that I want you to think of 3 or 5 KPIs. You don't want a lot of KPIs. And sometimes, we create a lot of KPIs, but sometimes they're measuring the same thing. So if you're going after revenue, you're going after your leads, you're going after maybe some marketing metric, or if you have a special project that you're working on, you want to see percentage completion, you want to focus on those. And I encourage having it balanced. Don't just look at revenue. There are different things that lead to revenue, and you want to ensure that you have those considered as well. So for example, if you're thinking about, okay, we want to generate 100,000 revenue, that's a lag indicator. You're going to see that at the end of the period. So let's say we're doing it per quarter. At the end of the quarter, I want to have generated $100,000 in revenue, but there are activities that you would do. Let's see, do we have our 5 calls booked? All right, then what's going to support those 5 calls? Maybe it's the content that you're sharing. Maybe you're hosting an event. You are generating leads from different activities. Have all of those metrics in your dashboard, because you want to be able to fix or address challenges early, or replicate activities and behaviors that's helping you to generate the right revenue, right? So ensure that you have 3 to 5. You also want to make sure that you have a mix of lead and lag. Don't just have lag indicators alone causes you to be reactive, and we don't want to only be reactive. Remember, your lag indicators is saying yes, this is true, what you've been feeling is true, right? Your lag indicator is saying you did say if you have 5 consultations booked, you would meet your revenue target. Here, you have met the revenue target. That is what it's doing for you. You don't just want that. So you want to make sure that you have your frequency and all of those sorted out before you go into, all right, we have a dashboard. So lag and lead indicators. Now, we're going now into what goals are we setting for 2026? What is that goal that when you think of it, you're like, yes, we can achieve it? I want you to write that number down based on the products or services that you offer. What is your 2026 goal? Sometimes we're afraid to write it down because we go into how are we going to achieve it. We'll get into answering that question next week. We're not doing that right now. We are setting the goal right now. What goal are you achieving in terms of your revenue, or if you're thinking of growing market share, or we spoke about yesterday the growth framework that we're using. So if you haven't checked it and you're joining today, I want you to go back and watch the video that we did yesterday on the Ansoff matrix and use that to determine how you're going to grow. And now we're saying, what is that goal? Do not think about how you're going to achieve it. I've worked with a client before, and I remember when we went through her performance for the year, when she gave me the target she wanted for the following year, and I looked at her performance, I'm like, you've already made the target. And she's like, no, we haven't. I'm like, yeah. The revenue target that you're setting for next year, you've already met it. But what was happening is she didn't have a performance dashboard, one. Two, she wasn't looking at her numbers. As founders and CEOs, sometimes because you're able to pay the bills and you're able to get by, you ignore, going deep and looking close at your numbers. But what was happening for her is the expenses were eating out her revenue, so she wasn't feeling it in the bottom line, which would be her profit, right? So set the goal. We'll work on the how, and sometimes when we work on the how, you realize that it's achievable with some minor tweaks, right? So set that goal. Then you're setting the goal for the year. I want you to divide that goal by 4, which would show you what your target is per quarter. So let's start with one goal for today. Divide that goal by 4 to show you what your target will be per quarter, and then divide that goal by 3, or you want to divide it by 12 again to see what your goal is per month. You can realize that sometimes it's achievable. It looks high, it looks large, but it's achievable. So do that, because that is what we're going to be using going into the next year. I want to share with you 2 things. I did say I'm going to show you what a performance dashboard would look like. And it's okay if this is not what you have, because this, and you can generate this on there. Let me put it this way. There are companies that offers performance dashboards like this, and this is for a regional company, and then you can also create it in Microsoft Excel. We've used dashboards in Excel for years for international companies, so you don't have to worry about it being fancy. But what you want, if you're the CEO or the founder and you're getting this dashboard at the end of the month or the end of the quarter, every other month, whatever your reporting cycle is, as you look at it, you can see, oh, okay, our revenue targets, the trend is going in the right direction. It's going north. There is a change over the previous period, which is positive. You look at your new customers and you see that the trend is going down, and it's 11.2%. You might want to say, so we're growing from our existing customers. Maybe we need to look at those customers some more. So when you have the dashboard, this is what it helps you to do. You're able to have those conversations. We aren't growing from our new customers, so it's our existing customers. Who are those people? Maybe you want to create something for your existing clients. Let's have some appreciation. Let's send some packages. That is what this helps you to do. So you're not just operating blindly, right? Gross profit is trending in the right direction. Customer satisfaction, also trending in the right direction. So that is what you want to look at as you go through. So if this dashboard only had the top section, it would be good enough. you know so sales breakdown by region, by country. This is an international company, so this is where the sales are coming from, that you're able to see it. You're also able to see sales by product at just by looking at it with no other information. You can say, okay, what's orange? Okay, our stereo systems, that's where we're getting most of our sales from. Let's go let's go into that a little bit more. Our brand profitability, which one of our brands are we most profitable with? Just by looking, we're seeing that it's Sunny. That is what having a performance dashboard does for you. And this is why I sing praises for it, because it allows you to make decisions, and it allows you to be able to see quickly what the temperature is for your business. And that is what you want. I want to share something else with you, because a person might be saying, well, Michelle, I don't have that fancy thing, neither do I have anybody to do it. But you can do a simple Excel sheet. So this is tracking just revenue. You have a list of your products, you have your targets, and you have your variance. You can block this area and create a graph. You're analyzing, you can create a graph from this. And I mean, I help clients with these things all the time. So you are able to create the dashboard that you want. But just having the dashboard, guys, it's like golden. Right? You're not looking through a financial statement and trying to understand it. And I encourage persons, build one so you know what you feel comfortable with, what you feel comfortable using, and how you consume information. You may consume data more better from a graph, you may consume it better from a table, line graph, you name it, pie charts. You're able to create the one that's most comfortable for you. So that's what I want you to think about. But you cannot, guys, go into the next year by not having a performance dashboard. We're reducing overwhelm, we're tracking our growth. So you're going to be creating your targets. Make sure that you have your targets as we go into the next 2 days, because at the end of the day, I want you to be able to look at patterns like I showed you with the dashboard just now. You're looking at patterns, you're having conversation. You see how much discussion we have from just one sheet. We know what's on target, what's going in the right direction. We know where our clients are coming from. We know what products, we know what region. One document. And if you need help, you can always reach out to me. I am performance management expert, so I can help you to create those, to make sure that you have your documents ready. So that's it for today. Go ahead and create your performance dashboards. Remember, we don't want too many metrics. We're tracking 3 to 5, and we have a blend of lead and lag, not just lag indicators. Ensure that you're able to measure the metrics that you choose. You can easily get that data. It's not a bottleneck. You're not pulling your hair out trying to get it. You want to make sure that you have an owner and you have a frequency in which you're going to be measuring those information. So go right ahead and get your targets documented, and I will see you tomorrow. If you can't measure it, guys, you lose vision, and you're making decisions from a point of emotion, and you're not making it from data. You're not being objective. So go ahead and get those done. And I thank you again for coming on. And if you are thinking of creating your strategic plans for 2026, and you want it to be very focused and you want it to be goal oriented, I'm your girl. Go ahead and send me an email or book a time in my calendar. I'll be happy to work with you and your team to help you develop that strategic plan for 2026. Thank you again for coming on. Have a great day, guys. Bye.